from town.
Have you literally rode a horse into town? Don't lie to me.
I've rode a horse in town, yes. I mean, I was like,
No! You are the first person I think I've ever met that's ridden a horse into town.
yeah.
Well, hey, good day, fellow wanderers. This is Joseph here with the Small Town Wanderer, and I'm on episode 7. Episode 7. Mazie, we're on episode 7. How does it feel to be in such a prestigious, you're going to be in the top 100 of my podcasts? Does it feel good?
Feels amazing. I'm so honored. Number 7. I will never forget that ever.
Number 7, and I'm with my new friend Mazie, Vincent, and we met while she was a broadcaster and news analyst and sports reporter for WJFW, our local NBC station, and we did some articles together, and I just wanted you guys to meet her because she's pretty cool, and her name is Mazie Vincent. Now, the first question right out of the gate is, Mazie, is that your real name or is that your like stage name you put up because you're really cool and you have to be on, you're a broadcaster and you don't want anybody to get you on Facebook or find you on social media?
That's funny. Yes, that is my real name. My name is Mazie Ray. I'm from Texas, so it has that southern twang to it.
Can you say that with a southern drawl?
Yeah, just since I've lived in Wisconsin, my southern drawl goes away a little bit, but my mama calls me Mazie Ray. It's just kind of how it works. So I was going to change it, but I said, you don't meet a lot of people named Mazie, and no. I was going to go the whole Mazie Ray route and do the whole two-name thing, but I'm Mazie, and if you want to say Mazie Ray, that's fine, but that is full me. No fake names, no anything, all me.
All you. You mentioned you're from the South. You grew up in Texas.
Yes.
And you literally went bilingual there for a second. I don't know if you noticed it. You went southern, Mazie in Wisconsin. You did it. You did it perfectly. You grew up in a little town in Texas. My hack researchers, my director and my producer of this amazing podcast, gave me some research on you. And you're from Stratford, Texas. Now, for 500 points, I'll give any of my viewers, without looking, I'll give you 500 prize points if you can tell me where Stratford is. Looking, you have to, honesty counts, so you put in, send me a smoke signal or a text to tell me where Stratford is, because I had no clue. Stratford is in what we call the middle of nowhere.
Yep, and that's what the people of Stratford call it, too.
I always thought we up north here in the middle of nowhere, but I might give you the prize for being the farthest away from a major city.
Oh, yeah, and we're closer to 4 other state capitals than our very own.
Yes.
Yep.
You're close to Albuquerque, to Oklahoma City,
Kansas,
Missouri.
Crazy. It's crazy, but it's fun. Yeah, so the closest big city is Amarillo. Which many people have heard of Amarillo, but we're still 85
Still don't know
miles.
Where that is.
You're still 85 miles north of that. So, here's the Oklahoma border. Here's Amarillo. Well, Stratford's like, what?
You're right there.
Yep. We went to the movie theaters in Oklahoma because that was 45 miles away. So, yeah, a little town of around 2,000 people.
What did you guys do there growing up? What was the thing to do?
Drive around. My dad is a farmer, so a lot of us, are farm kids and had animals and all that stuff. And, our small towns love our sports. So that's how I got involved in sports. And a little fun fact for you guys, when I was in 8th grade, my parents bought the local snow cone stand. So
fun fact, number 1 of this show.
Yes. From 8th grade to my senior year of high school, for about 5 months of the year, I worked in the snow cone stand, and that money I saved that money to go to college. So there's
what was your favorite snow cone stand?
Oh, man.
What was your favorite snow cone flavor?
Okay, so we had 56 flavors.
No way.
Yes. Popular one of the popular ones. It went back and forth. Pickle juice, so popular. So popular. I know. And people would mix things like pickle juice and cherry or pickle juice and blueberry. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot I cannot deal with these people. But hey, it was so fun. The community loved it. You know, it gets really
Yeah.
hot in Texas. It's not that humidity hot, it's that really dry
Dry
heat.
hot, dry heat. We hear
Yes.
about that.
I know.
I can almost guarantee you that anybody that had the pickle juice one probably didn't go to church either, because that just doesn't even seem holy. It just does not. It doesn't seem.
But no, that was so fun. So that was a little small town adventure for me to kind of dive into the whole, owning my own small business in
Yeah.
town. And it was a fun thing to talk about, still a fun thing to talk about now. But yeah, I worked there for 5 summers and saved money to go to college in Arkansas. So
You went to Arkansas
I
to
did.
to college, and you
I
studied
did.
to be a broadcaster, or did you study to be was it
Did. Yes,
journalism?
I double majored in broadcast journalism and communications. So from the second I became a Razorback, I knew I wanted to be a sports broadcaster.
Yeah.
I decided that I love sports so much. I'm not great enough to play them. So, hey, at least I can talk about them. And I was involved in so many different organizations in college, met some really cool people, got to work with ESPN a few times, the SEC network. And,
Whoa. I'm
I
trying to get
feel,
on ESPN Ocho
oh,
for this podcast. They haven't returned any of my signals and calls.
keep
I
pushing.
think they're a little upset at my pronunciations. If you've heard any of my other podcasts,
Probably just a
I'm
little
not
bit.
very good at French, but I'm pretty good at Spanish.
But yeah, so that was my little adventure for there, and then that's the biggest reason I ended up in Wisconsin. This new station in Rhinelander found my stuff on YouTube and said, "Hey, how about we're gonna fly you up here and come visit us, come see the Northwoods, and see if you could imagine yourself living here." So they flew me up right after I graduated, and I just loved it. It was the
Wow.
May. It was beautiful here, and I said, I
Yeah.
can cover the Packers, the Brewers, the Bucks, the Badgers, and then I can cover all these small little towns like I lived in. I said,
Yeah.
yes, I will be there as soon as I can. And I moved up here and I loved it. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I love the people, the athletes. It was just such a fun time.
Talk
Man.
to me about when you okay, so you are small town. You are the definition of what we do with wandering
Yep.
and fellow wanderers.
Yes.
Uh, the biggest city you would have lived in was their college, correct?
Yep. And
Yeah, I mean the
Fayetteville.
college campus was probably bigger than your whole cities,
Oh,
and bigger
absolutely.
than you're in the Northwoods here in Wisconsin.
Hmm.
What are some fun things you like about small towns?
Well, people say that if you grow up in a small town, you're sheltered in a way, but also I don't agree with that because I feel like we all got to live our own way,
Yeah.
and we got to experience things that if you lived in the city that some people didn't. And people might take advantage of things living in a big city, but in
Hmm.
this small town we just got to go adventure new things that people might not think of. Are we going to go milk the cows? Are we going to go walk down Main Street, and then that you're on the opposite side of town? Are we
Yeah.
going to go drive around? Are we
Are you
just
gonna
going to
chase
really
the
sit
cows
there?
down Main Street?
There you go. Ride the horses. Ride the horses around town. And I'm sitting here making Stratford seem like this old Western town.
Have you
I mean,
literally rode a horse into town? Don't lie to me.
I've rode a horse in town. Yes. I mean, I was like,
No! You are the first person I think I've ever met that's ridden a horse into town.
yeah. But it's not like we're not like the old Westerns. It's just that's just
No! It's just what you
it's just
did.
yep. It's what was normal. But also we just enjoyed each other.
Yeah.
Instead, like you said, what did you do? Yeah, we might not have had a bowling alley or typical things, but we just
You didn't
enjoyed
even
each
have a
other.
bowling alley?
Nope. We had when I
That's the
it changed.
definition of a podunk town.
We had we had I'm trying to think, one, two, three restaurants and then two fast food places. And that's it. And a gas station. We have two gas stations now.
I grew up in a town of 2000 and we at least had a bowling alley.
No.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where people say, "Oh, I'm bored." Are you really bored?
Yeah.
Or are you just not putting your imagination to work and
To
just
good
seeing
better use.
what is fun. But also that's also why, these small town, these communities are so close, is because they rely on each other to support each other. And
Hmm.
that's why these sports are so important, and why big meetings and the economic growth is so important, because
Yeah,
that little town is all you have. So
you have to
that's what
work
that was
together.
like for me.
Now, as a small town person, when you go into the bigger city, what are some big cities you really enjoy if you've been into, or what do you do when you go there? I mean, what's it like?
Well, I think it's like I have a different appreciation for certain things.
Hmm.
So for me, when I was living in Texas and in the South, I just enjoyed having different places to go to eat. I was never a huge shopper. I mean, it is neat now. I'm a girl. Everyone loves to shop. But my favorite thing still to this day is finding the downtown, wherever, even if we're in Dallas or in Boston or in New York, going just to those downtown local shops and just seeing what's there and shopping there and
Yeah,
finding out the history of the town. And I think that comes from my smaller roots, if that makes sense. So,
absolutely.
and so when I went, so we're the Stratford Elks, and then you don't hear that very often, the Elks.
Well, I already can tell you my producers are going to probably put a picture of an elk up right now when you say that, so that people can see your
Yep.
mascot. Because I bet
So
you it's a
Stratford Elks.
legit mascot.
Grammar all wrong. There's no such thing as elks. It's just elk.
And I don't think there's elk in down there.
There, no. Mm-mm.
No, farm raised maybe, but we barely have elk up
Yeah,
here.
not like in Wisconsin where you can just see one. Yeah, so we're the Stratford Elks. I think that's special. You don't hear that often. Well, then I went to become a Razorback.
Yeah,
There's no other
nobody
Razorback.
still nobody knows what that is.
Nope, nope. And then I moved to Rhinelander, the Hodags.
Yeah.
There's something special about every town, whether it's small, big, huge, medium sized. And that's my favorite thing about traveling, is finding that one special thing that might separate you from other, or separate towns from other places.
You mentioned Boston and New York. Have you been to those cities?
I have. So, my mom is an economic developer, so
Uh huh.
she traveled all the time when I was growing up, and I'm an only child. So, fortunately, my dad and I got to go with her a lot.
That's why they gave you two names, by the way.
But yeah, so we got to travel all the time. She would have big trade shows or anything like that, and me
Uh
and my
huh.
dad are big sports fanatics. So almost every trip we went on growing up, it was had to revolve around my mom's business and sporting
Yes.
events. So my first NFL game wasn't even in Texas; it was in Washington D.C. and watched Washington play the Cowboys. We did the whole Washington D.C. thing, and then from there we went around.
Just
We went to San
branched.
Diego, Boston, New York, Las Vegas,
Did you always
and
see like a sporting event when you went?
always wherever we were at.
What's some of your favorite stadiums?
I love Soldier Field. We were sitting, and I got even a better seat when I got to cover the Packers there. But just looking over there and seeing the skyline
Hmm.
of Chicago, I was
Yeah, it is
just,
pretty. It's beautiful.
it's beautiful. And everyone's like, "Oh, you don't love Cowboy Stadium?" No. I need to. I tell everyone you at least need to go see AT&T Stadium at least once. See Jerry World and when
Yeah,
Jerry.
it's huge.
Yeah, it's something worth seeing. But it goes back to it. It's not special.
No,
That,
it's
that's
just
that's
big.
how I view things. I just want it to be special. Probably one of my favorite events we went to while I was a senior in high school and then in college. My mom, every year we went to the Players Championship down in Florida. They call it the fifth major, and that's where the iconic island hole is.
Yeah.
And we went 4 years in a row.
No.
Absolute blast. And we had a pavilion right off the 17th hole. I'm a big Ricky Fowler fan, and when we were there when he won, and that was his biggest tournament to date that he had won. So it
He's pretty good
was,
looking too, by the way.
yeah.
I mean, we can agree on that.
I know he's pretty good looking, yes. But no, I'm just so grateful for all the things that I've gotten to do, and I express to everyone that there's such a big world out there, whether you're driving an hour or flying across the
Yeah.
ocean, that never stop viewing and adventuring and looking and looking for questions and just never ever stop.
Uh, Maisie, this is exciting because you rarely meet people that are so excited about things. They might have their thing, or they'll see it. I have a hard time believing you find the negative in anything. So just seeing the beauty in what's around you has been it's contagious. I hope people that are listening to episode 7, by the way, of an international podcast. 7. Wow, I can't do it like that. If you are listening to this online, you need to go watch the video right now. Have you been anywhere outside the States?
I have not. I'm about to.
Yeah.
But the furthest I've gone is we went to the Virgin Islands, and we went over to the British Virgin Islands for 1 day.
So you've been in Britain.
I have.
Wow.
I got the little passport. I got the little stamp. But that is the only time I've ever been out of the country.
Mazie Ray. I do believe that is your name, but the jury's still out. My producers will definitely do some birth certificate research on that. So you moved up to Rhinelander into the North Woods of Wisconsin. You became a broadcaster, and you produced something really cool. And it's actually just came out last week, last Friday. As this is going to be, when this gets broadcasted, it'll be last Friday. Talk to us about this really cool thing that you can only find in some small towns. It's called snowshoe baseball. Something most people have not heard of, and you jumped into the local culture up here, and you found this one item, this one event that really, does it happen anywhere else?
Mm-hmm.
Does it happen? No.
Nope.
Talk to us about snowshoe baseball and
yes.
the documentary you produced and you broadcasted and you did everything on.
Okay, so this goes back to what we were just talking about. I really like to find something that makes something special.
Yeah.
So when we moved so me and my sports partner, Andrew Goldstein, we started work on the very same day. It was June 18th, 2018. We started on the same exact day. On that day, that was the opening day of the Lake Tomahawk snowshoe baseball season.
Yes.
So Channel 12 always plays in the first annual game. So we were like, y'all are going to play snowshoe baseball. And I said, what in the world is snowshoe baseball? First off, what are snowshoes? Because I didn't really know what snowshoeing was.
No.
I had no idea. So I get here and they're like, okay, throw these on. I'm like, what are these things? So, and this is in the summer, okay? June 18th, summer.
Yes, summer.
This is in the summer. So we put
on
the
old school snowshoes too.
Yeah, I mean wooden with the certain fabric on the straps and everything. So snowshoe baseball is basically softball on snowshoes, no gloves, and you play on a field full of saw chips. Not sawdust. It's like half sawdust and saw chips. And
similar to when you would come ride up with your horse in your town, there'd be saw chips on the road.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep. So Lake Tomahawk has this team called the Snowhawks, and every summer they play different teams around the area. But the 4th of July is the big game, and that's when they play a team from Chicago.
Yes.
A team from Chicago comes up, and they play every 4th of July. And it's this huge rivalry, and it's just this huge staple for the little town. I mean, smaller than where I grew up, where you grew up.
It's super small.
Small town in Lake Tomahawk, Wisconsin. And these games attract more than 1,500 people. I mean, it is absolutely insane.
For a town of it's unincorporated. It doesn't even have a population.
Yeah, I want to say maybe 500. Not even, though.
No. But my researchers will look that up for you.
Yeah,
we'll do that research for you.
Okay, sounds good. So Andrew and I, as being sports reporters and just wanting to know about the different things that happen in the Northwoods, we said, this is pretty neat. Now, some people have been doing stories like, oh, there's this random thing that happens in northern Wisconsin. And we say, no, it's more than just some silly game. It's way more than that.
Yeah.
So we found out that it's been going on for more than 60 years. And it's been this huge family event. Generations of families have been playing in this game, and we decided, you know what, let's do it. This is going to be our first documentary as young journalists. We're going to go. We interviewed more than 30 people.
Wow.
And we've been worked on it for about a year and a half, and it finally aired this summer. Unfortunately, there's not a snowshoe baseball season this year because of COVID. But that kind of makes it more special
This
in
is
a
going to be
way.
amazing. People are
Yeah,
going to want
and
to watch it because they're going to want to reminisce.
people have been waiting for this and looking forward to it. And we put all of our blood, sweat, and tears into this documentary. And I worked on it with Andrew and then another one of our fellow reporters at the station. And it was such a blast. And it just proves that these small towns are so special, and
Yes.
there's amazing things can happen in small towns just the same as any other large city. So that was what we wanted to do. We wanted to put a light on this wonderful thing that no one would believe happens, but it brings so
No.
much joy to people all across Wisconsin, and even in Chicago. There's people from Chicago that
They
come up
always come
every
up.
4th of July. So absolutely so fun.
Super fun. All the most I've ever heard living around here is like the Wisconsin Public Radio will maybe do a little 3-minute shtick on it,
Mm-hmm.
or it's it's an evening news type of broadcast for the first game of the year or the one Chicago comes up. How long is the actual end product for your documentary?
30 minutes.
30-minute documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You probably had a ton of footage.
Yes, we went to every single game. We did all sorts of interviews throughout the summer before and after. We spent a lot of time in Lake Tomahawk. We went down to the local restaurants and bars because these games bring in so many people and it brings so much money into the town of Lake Tomahawk.
Yes.
And we just wanted to see why it was named. It's the snowshoe capital of the world, and we just kind of described that to people and wanted to tell those stories that weren't being told. Of course,
Hmm.
people you might, like you said, people will hear what it is once in a while, but it's more than just a silly game, and that's why we decided to do it. And
I'm not gonna lie to you, it looks like a silly game, but then when you actually watch it, you're like, these people are taking this very seriously,
oh yeah.
and you could get hurt, and it's a full contact type of
Mm-hmm.
sport. Do you mind if I show our viewers a little clip of it? Or
Absolutely, we would love to do that. Show
sweet.
it.
We were always the Lake Tomahawk snowshoe team.
Lady, let's go!
It's something totally unique.
It's like, wow, this is something different.
Me, I don't really care who wins. I just want the crowd to have fun.
This sport here is softball, and in order to run in these snowshoes, you have to be an athlete.
We always had people come up here like from Texas or Arizona where they were here visiting. Can I put on a pair of snowshoes and just go out there for an inning and say that I played snowshoe baseball? I tell them, like I tell any other player, when you're out there running, you shuffle your feet. Don't take off running, you're gonna fall flat on your face. They could hit one off the barn over here, and between home and first, they're laying on the ground trying to get up.
I was going after a fly ball, called it, I got it. It was just a pop fly in the infield, and my snowshoe stuck. Both feet stuck. Down I went face first, and I had snow chips in my mouth, nose, and ears. And I was literally jammed up with chips. That's how hard I hit the ground.
Where could they find this video? Is it?
Our Facebook page.
So are you gonna show it on the Facebook page?
Yes. Oh, we're going to show the documentary?
Yes.
No, we are not showing it on our we will have a link on our Facebook page to our documentary.
Okay, so they can
yes,
watch it.
It's called "If the Shoe Fits: A Snowshoe Baseball Story." Our link will be on the Facebook page.
If the shoe fits, a
If the
snowshoe
shoe fits,
baseball
because
story.
anyone who can put on those snowshoes can play snowshoe baseball.
They can play.
If you have an
great.
imagination, you can play.
And I will put it in our show notes too. and online, and I'll put it in the descriptions too. I'll even go that far. Put it on YouTube, on Spotify, and is this will this be your first interview about such a thing? Or do you think you'll have another one?
Yes. Yeah, no, we've been foreshadowing it and putting teasers out there.
Yes.
But it finally arrived. The day came, and it is out there for the world to see, and we're so excited. We're going to submit it into some festivals and stuff, so hopefully it will gain some traction elsewhere, even if it's just in the Midwest. That's okay.
Well, Mazie Ray, when you become very famous and you change your name like to just Mazie, and everybody knows who that is, will you remember that you had this interview? I know you're the one that normally interviews, but will you remember you had this interview on this internationally acclaimed and known podcast?
Of course.
Okay.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Episode 7.
Episode 7. I don't know what to call. I have little special ones every once in a while. I that's what kind of threw me. But I'm thinking I'm just going to go fellow wanderers, and then if I do a special, it's just a special. It's not. It doesn't get a number. How's that sound? Does that work in the broadcast field?
Yeah.
You don't seem too confident in that.
I mean, it's just however.
I should probably label those something else, but I don't want to have 2 podcasts. I just want to have one that has.
Well, then don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm not. But I do lose sleep every once in a while.
Don't do that.
Not about that. It's only when the baby cries. Well, hey, Mazie, do you have anything else you'd love to share with your fellow wanderers before you leave? Last words from Mazie Ray.
Okay, let me just sum up.
Can you please do it in your Southern drawl? Whatever your last words are, can you just do it all Southern?
I can't just make it come back.
Oh, act like I'm your dad. Just
I know. I live in Wisconsin now. I know. I fell in love with the boy from Wisconsin, and now my accent is just not as strong because his accent.
The boy from Wisconsin.
I know they're a little scary, but they're super special. But no, I thank you so much for having me on this. I am so excited to be the guest on episode 7. And my biggest advice, and even don't even take my advice, but just live life. And if that doesn't, just there's so much going on right now, and I know it can be overwhelming, but you have to find the special things in life and just appreciate them. And
absolutely.
And take advantage of any small opportunities you may have, and just live life. Don't worry. Things will turn up eventually, and just take advantage of that. Whether you live in a small town of 500 or a big old city, find the special moments and find the special things, and that
big old city. That's
big old city.
Big old city.
And
get on down, Paul. Let's get our truck ready to go on down to the big old city.
See, look, you can move to the south right now.
We're gonna go into town tonight.
Perfectly.
Well, friends, that was Mazie Ray, part of our Fellow Wanderers podcast and video blog and whatever we want to make it for that moment. So thanks, Mazie, for being on. And remember, friends, when in doubt, just get out and wander.